Hey, financial besties. Hey, besties. How you doing? How you been? How you doing? How you been? If you're with me live, y'all know the routine. Drop some money babies in the chat. Let me know how you feeling. And if you are watching the replay, hey to you too. Leave a comment to let me know you were here. But in this video, I want to talk about the number one thing that keeps professional women from building wealth. I don't like it. And I want to change it. So we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. Fear. Fear is the number one thing that keeps professional women from building wealth. You earn well. You earn good money. But you're also scared of losing the money. So you're not investing. And that fear is what's keeping you stuck in the job. I get it. Because fear of what you don't understand is normal. But at the same time, while you're watching other people do what you want to do, while you're watching other people on YouTube living the life that you want to live, while you're watching like me investing and building a portfolio and retiring early while you're still working, that should be evidence enough to know that you can do it too. Let's talk about that fear. Talk about that fear and let's unpack it, shall we? I hear most women express fear of investing in the stock market all the time. And what I am noticing is that there are 3 common underlying reasons that I hear from each one of them. Every woman that has ever told me they're afraid of investing, when I ask them more, when I ask them questions and they explain why, I hear some of the same 3 things. So in this video, I want to talk about each one of them. And I want you to let me know if you have these same reasons for fearing investing and losing money in the stock market. Because if you do, I also want to talk about how you can invest without losing money at all. Is that all right? Is that all right, besties? Let me know if it's all right with you. But first, if there's anyone watching that's new to my channel, this is your first time seeing one of my videos, or your first time joining me live, hey girl, hey. I love meeting new people. My name is Malika. I am a stock market investor and a money coach. I built my own portfolio in the stock market and retired early at 47. Now I have the pleasure. Through my coaching program, Invest with Ease, I get to teach other ambitious Black women how to invest in the stock market and build wealth so they too can retire early or at least make work optional. Same thing. Both have great benefits. You work because you want to, not because you have to, right? So if that's of interest to you, tap that subscribe button right up under here somewhere. Tap that subscribe button. I think you'll love it here because that's all we talk about. We talk about the shmoney, making the money babies, so we don't have to work. You got better things to do than working a 9 to 5 job. But let me say hello to my OGs. And in my OGs with me tonight, if you're with me live, leave some money babies in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling. I only see 2 of you in the comments. I know there's a little lag sometimes when I'm speaking and the comments. Let me do a tech check. For the last time, we had some issues when I tried to go live. Can y'all hear me and see me okay? The light is to the right of me, so I might have a little shadow over me because I'm not facing the light this time like I usually am. But can you see me okay? And can you hear me okay? There's no lag in my video. If you see a lag in the video at any point, let me know, because then I will switch connections. So I have access to 3 entry points now. I contacted customer support and they gave me 2 extra connections. So if there's anything lagging, let me know and I will switch. But I think this is the strongest one because my Wi-Fi signal has all the lines. So I think I'm good. I hope it'll stay this way. But if I have tech issues, y'all don't judge me. Y'all don't judge me. Tried my best to prepare better this time. So I got 2 backups I can use. Just let me know. But I see Miss Faithful Jones in the house. What's up, Faithful Jones? Thank you for sharing the money bags, the money babies. I appreciate you. What's up, Jay? I'm just gonna call you Jay because I don't want to jack up your name. Hey girl, hey. And what's up, Vahan Alpha? I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you again. Thank you for confirming that you can hear me and see me just fine. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. But all right, let's get into the topic, which is the underlying reasons, or the most common that I hear, the underlying reasons that you're afraid to invest and lose money in the stock market, and how you can invest without fear of losing money. All right. The first reason, and these aren't in any order from worst to least common or losing the most money to least amount of money. These are just the 3 that I've gathered from listening to my clients and identifying the commonalities. But the first fear that I hear is you fear making the wrong decision. And you fear that if you pick the wrong stock, you'll lose money. Let me know in the live chat if you have that fear, if that is the reason that you fear losing money in the stock market. You fear making the wrong decision. Can you identify with that one? Let me know. Because this is what I hear from you all. And if you can identify with that one, this is what I want you to know. Making the wrong decision or picking the wrong stock, that typically comes from not understanding why you chose the investment in the first place. You may have followed a hot stock tip on social media. You may have received advice from a family member or a friend. And if that is how you're choosing your investments, you could be picking the wrong stock or making the wrong investment decision. Following what's popular and what's trendy and what everyone else is doing is one of the most common reasons that people lose money, because you're essentially treating the stock market like a casino. You're betting on whatever is popular, whatever the crowd is saying you should buy, and you're just hoping you're going to get lucky. That is why most people lose money. Your investment choices should never, ever be made based on what's popular. That's number one. Your investment choices should never be made based on what's popular. If you watch 5 YouTube videos on investing, and if all 5 of those creators are talking about one stock because it's popular and it's up, that is not a reason to invest in that stock. That is a reason that you will eventually lose money. Right? We don't invest based on what we heard. We invest based on what we know. And how do we know it? Because as ambitious Black women, before we invest, we analyze the fundamentals. Whether you're investing in a stock, in an individual company, or investing in a fund. I see one person said she invests in the S&P 500 to avoid that fear. You can't invest directly in the S&P 500. You have to choose a fund that tracks the S&P 500. So even if you're choosing a fund that's popular, and that's your basis for choosing that fund, that's still not the way to invest. Before you put your money in anything, you should be analyzing the fundamentals. And even mutual funds and ETFs have fundamentals that you should be aware of before you put 1 red cent into it. Not all ETFs are created equal. Not all mutual funds are created equal. They're not all the same. Even if they track the same thing, there are still fundamental differences between each fund. And when you learn to analyze them, you will be able to quickly identify those differences. Right? In my coaching program, Invest with Ease, I do not encourage following the trend, jumping on the bandwagon of hype, gambling, guessing, hoping. As I tell my clients, hope is not a strategy. But if you fear losing money, hope is one way that you will lose money. So because I don't encourage those things, I do teach you how to do fundamental analysis so that you can evaluate the asset, whether it's a stock or a fund. I teach you to evaluate the asset before investing in it. Then you will know why you're investing in it. You will know whether it aligns with your risk tolerance. And you will know how it fits into your overall financial plan and your goals. You're not just investing in what's popular and hoping it works out. After you analyze the fundamentals, you know what you're buying, and you're making intentional, informed investing decisions. Right? So you will no longer fear losing money because you are afraid that you picked wrong. When you've done your analysis, and you have a basis for why you chose what you chose, it fits your risk tolerance, and it's aligned with your overall financial plan, you have made an informed decision and you know why you chose what you chose. So once you have that level of clarity and confidence, it's very unlikely that you will have fear. All right. Let's see what you all are saying about reason number one. Having the fear because you're afraid of picking wrong. Oh, you're in the time zone that works. All right. Fear is definitely an issue, Miss Geraldine. Miss Geraldine the Dreamer. Veronica, isn't the S&P 500 made up of 7 different stocks? So you're diversified. Oh, Veronica. The problem with this statement is in the fundamental makeup of what you are saying you invest in, and you're showing me that you don't understand what you invest in. It sounds like you are just regurgitating what you've heard someone else say instead of truly understanding what the S&P 500 is. Just by nature of the name of the index, that alone should let you know that there are more than 7 stocks in the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is called the S&P 500 because there are 500 different companies inside the index. And I say companies and not stocks because there are more than 500 stocks because some companies have 2 different types of stocks. That's probably something you didn't know, but that's a fundamental analysis. Those are things that you learn when you analyze the fund. So this applies to a fund and a stock. You're not default automatically diversified just because you're in a fund, and that still doesn't relieve any fear, because if you don't know why you're invested and what you're invested in, you will still have fear. So this comment is a perfect, timely example of what I mean. Hey, Miss Lily Bell. Yeah, so my advice to anyone that fears investing and losing money in the stock market because you fear you may pick wrong, I encourage you, whether you learn from me and invest with ease, whether you learn from someone else or you learn on your own, I encourage you to do fundamental analysis first before you put any money into the investment. Know what you're investing in and understand how that asset aligns with your risk tolerance. Okay? All of those decision points should be made before you put your money in that asset. All right? Are we ready to move on to number 2, or did you have any more questions or comments? Let me look. Let me look at the live. Oh, good comment. The S&P includes the Magnificent Seven. Yeah, it does. But that's not all the S&P is comprised of. And for those who may not understand, can you explain what the Magnificent Seven is? Because we don't want to use trendy words that are popular and just go along with the crowd. We want to be able to understand what we're buying. So can you share another comment to clearly explain what the Magnificent Seven is. But yes, you're right. The S&P includes it, but that doesn't mean that's all the S&P is. Okay. I see you, Veronica. You're doing quite well. People that go to Vegas and gamble, when they get lucky, they do quite well too. I encourage you to understand what you're buying and understand what you're invested in. Because there will come a time where you're not going to be doing so well, which is a perfect segue into fear number 2. When you don't know what you're invested in, that's what causes this second one. So the second concern that I hear about losing money in the stock market is they fear a market crash. The question that they ask is, what if the market crashes and I lose everything that I have worked so hard to earn? And y'all, let me tell you, when I hear that fear and the way it's worded, I feel the transfer energy behind it. I feel when you are concerned about losing everything you've worked so hard to earn. That's real. And I understand. A market crash can be scary. So I understand the thought of losing everything that you've worked so hard to earn. So you're like, I ain't fooling with that stock market. I worked too hard for this money. Girl, I get it. Get it. And every time someone expresses that fear to me, it's like my heart just, I feel what you're feeling. And I wish I could take away all of that fear like instantly. But I don't have the power to do that. So there are things that I do in Invest with These to address this concern. And we'll talk about it in a minute. But if you have that fear, let me know in the comments. Anyone watching, do you have fear of losses because you fear a market crash? And if you do, I want you to know that market volatility is normal. Whether the market dips, whether it corrects, and sometimes it crashes. That's all normal market activity. The market has crashed before, and it will crash again. I want to manage your expectations. I will never, ever lead you to believe that it won't happen again. That would be a dishonest way of trying to manage your fears. But market volatility is normal. The key is knowing what to do when the market is volatile. Because losses only happen when you make decisions during market volatility based on your emotions instead of a strategy. I'm going to say that one more time. Losses only happen when the market crashes, when you make decisions based on emotions instead of a strategy. And most people that make decisions based on emotions when the market crash is going back to number one, they don't understand what they're invested in to begin with. They're hoping everything will work out. They're hoping the market is just going to continue going up. If it doesn't, they freak out. They make emotional decisions and they realize a loss. Right? So I want you to know that market volatility is normal. And one of the ways to manage that fear is first, what we talked about in number one, understanding what you're invested in, doing your analysis before you invest. And then now in number two, knowing what to do when the market is volatile, because volatility is normal. All right? In Invest with Ease, I teach you how to analyze market conditions. I teach you how to navigate market volatility so that you're making informed, grounded investing decisions, not emotional decisions because you're panicking. Right? And how do I do that? By one, showing you how to structure your portfolio that protects you from market downturns, because we've already established the volatility is normal. It's going to happen again and again. There's nothing we can do to prevent it, right? But we can structure our portfolio to protect us from downside, right? And also, I help my clients to create a tailored investing plan based on their risk tolerance that's unique to you, so that you know exactly what to do and how to protect yourself when, not if, but when the market takes a dip. Right? So accepting the fact that volatility is normal, learning how to analyze market conditions, and knowing what to do so that you're making informed decisions and not just reacting and panicking because market conditions are not favorable. Right? And then having a plan in advance, because you know it's going to happen again. You know the market is going to crash again. When is just the question, not if. We already know it's going to happen again. But when it happens, having a plan that documents exactly what you will do to protect yourself from the downside. I find that helping my clients do those things, it helps to alleviate any fears about market crashes. In one of the recent videos I shared a clip of a coaching session, and you hear two clients talking as I'm talking about one of the market volatility indicators, and I'm letting them know that the market is down and that investor sentiment that particular day was an extreme fear. And both clients, I asked them, how do they feel about the volatility that they were seeing? And both clients said, I have no fear. One was a relatively new client, And she said, before I joined your program, I probably would have been scared, but I'm not scared because of what I've learned to do. So she said she was neutral. She didn't have any fear, but she also didn't really say what the second client said that had more experience with me. But at least she was neutral. That's the first step. That's progress. But the second client that's been with me a little longer, in that clip that I shared, it's in one of the that's in the investing playlist. I can't remember which one it was. But the second client said, I see opportunity. Like fear wasn't even something that even crossed her mind. She said, I see opportunity. I've done my analysis. I have this on my watch list that I've been waiting to buy. And I'm just waiting to unload the clip. Yes. Yes. So that preparation, that analysis, that understanding how to navigate volatility and knowing what to do during a market crash, it will help you to see crashes very differently. You will not have the fear anymore. You may just be neutral, like the first client. And once you develop your confidence, you'll start seeing crashes as opportunities. But the first goal is just to help you alleviate the fear. That's my first goal. Once you move beyond that, wherever you land, I count it all a win. I count it all a win. So tell me, what do y'all think about reason number 2? Fear of losing money in the stock market for reason number 2. You fear market crash. Is that a fear that some of you had? Oh, Avis responded. Thank you, Avis. He shared I'm sorry, I don't know if you are he or she, I'm sorry. But I asked Avis to share the Magnificent Seven because they are in the S&P 500, but they are not the only companies that make up the S&P 500, which is what someone else implied. But yes, the Magnificent Seven is Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet, which is Google, Meta, which is Facebook, and Tesla. And it's so interesting. Their collective name changes like every 5 years or so. We used to call them, it was an acronym. Avis, what was the acronym we used to call them? Because it was the letter of each of their names. I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, it's not important. We've moved on from that comment, but thank you for following up and sharing the details of the Magnificent Seven. But yeah, so back to fear, reason for fear number 2. Fear of and losing it all in a market crash, or concerns about what I shared about fear number 2. Feel my throat getting dry, so let me get my tea over here while you all are responding in the comments, just in case there's a lag. Woo. Got a little cold on me. Oh, it feels good to my throat, though. It'd be hotter. Have to reheat it. But yeah, fear is very, very normal, friends. Fear is very, very normal. And the fear of a market crash is completely understandable. I will not gaslight you. I will not disregard your feelings because a market crash is real. The thought of losing everything that you own to your name during a market crash, that's real. But what I do as a coach is I help you understand market volatility. I help you navigate market volatility and they help you usually. And once you understand how to navigate the market volatility, that usually alleviates the fears. I've been in the stock market for I'll just say over 8 years. I've seen several market crashes over that period of time. I will see more, many more during my lifetime if I'm blessed to keep living. It's going to happen. The key is knowing what to do when it happens. Okay? Thank you, Trells. So love my channel. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. So if there are no other questions or comments about fear reason number 2, we'll move on to the last one. The other common theme I hear when people talk about fear of investing in the stock market and losing money, they fear being overwhelmed, and they fear that if they're overwhelmed and they don't understand, that will cause them to lose money. And that's real. All the fears I hear are real. It is very common to fear what you don't understand, right? Most people that feel overwhelmed or that feel like the stock market is this complex machine and it's scary and it could take your money away, it's because they're drowning in noise. They consume financial information because they're interested in learning or they're curious about the stock market. And they hear so many different people talking about the market, and they're drowning in noise, and it makes it feel so overwhelmed, so intimidating, so complex. You got the TikTok traders, you got the Twitter finance bros, then you have the conflicting advice here on YouTube, right? You have all of these voices doing different things with different strategies, and it just sounds so complex and overwhelming. And when taking all of that in, and you think you have to do all of those things in order to invest, if that's what you think investing is, what the TikTok traders say, what the Twitter finance bros say, what the financial influencers on YouTube say, if you think you have to follow all of that conflicting advice, it's understandable why you feel overwhelmed and why you think, oh, if I don't understand it, I'm going to lose money. You will. If you're investing and trying to follow what you see someone else doing, and you're investing blindly and just following all the conflicting advice. This one says invest in the S&P 500, like the person that left the comment. This one says invest in the NASDAQ, right? This one says invest in Bitcoin. This one says invest in NVIDIA. I'm just trying to think of all the popular things. If you're hearing all these sources, you do all these different things, and you're trying to follow the advice from all of them, because all of them are right, because there's so many different ways to invest. But when you're trying to advice from all of them, you're trying to do a little bit of everything. You buy S&P 500 and you don't even know what's in the S&P 500. You buy the NASDAQ and you don't know what makes the NASDAQ move. Right? You buy NVIDIA and you don't even coin because you think the US dollar is going to lose its value, so you put your money in something that you hope will replace the US dollar. Like I'm just making up stuff, but these are all the trendy, hypey things that I've heard. And if you're listening to all that noise and you're following all that noise, you will lose money. You will. And that is why you feel so overwhelmed and you think you don't understand it, because it's all just noise. Anyone can relate to number three, being overwhelmed and losing money because you just simply don't understand. Is that here that you can relate to? Tea doesn't taste as it gets cold. Let me know. Is that fear you have? If it is, this is what I advise my clients to do and how I help them to manage that fear. First of all, we cut through the noise. We cut through the noise, cut it out, stop following all those different people, unfollow them, block them, or just acknowledge that they're doing it their way. And if their way is too complex for you, it's too overwhelming, watch them if you like the person, but just don't follow their advice. That is the source that's causing you to feel overwhelmed. So cut off the noise, or just acknowledge, this is why I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm not going to listen to the advice anymore. But you got to cut through the noise first. And then after you cut through the noise and your brain is not trying to process all of this conflicting information, then you learn to do your own analysis and choose which strategy is best for you, your lifestyle, your time constraints, your needs, your goals, right? Because what a day trader does, the time that they spend day trading, spend more time prepping charts than you actually do trading. But prepping the charts and back testing and all it takes to be able to master your strategy and to gain that leverage, to be able to get in and out quickly, all that work is done on the back end. You may not have the time to noise. Eliminate the noise. Learn to do your own analysis and choose which approach fits your lifestyle and what you want out of investing. And when you're not blindly following what other people say, and you know what you're doing, it relieves the feeling of being overwhelmed. I help my clients understand what they're doing. I help my clients choose a strategy that works for them by giving them a simple framework to choose from. Whatever framework they choose from, I show them how to analyze the market and make informed decisions. We're not guessing. We're not following the hype. We're not choosing blindly. They make informed decisions based on the approach they choose that's best for them. And in the framework that I provide, it's not complex at all. No finance bro language. I teach investing in the stock market because I only teach women. I only teach Black women. I teach investing in the stock market using analogies and metaphors that we can all relate to, right? When I'm talking about the different sectors, there are 11 sectors in the stock market. I associate it with going shopping in a big box retailer, right? The big box retailers have aisles of certain types of food that are paired together based on the aisle that we're on. Same thing when you're thinking about the stock market structure and the 11 sectors in the stock market, right? I use language that you can understand, that you can visualize in your mind, that you can associate with real life. So you're like, that makes sense. You're not overwhelmed anymore because I don't use the finance bro language and all the complex terms and all the finance jargon. And I help you realize that it's not as complex as some people make it out to be. And when you realize that and you have that light bulb moment and you're able to use my framework to choose an approach for you, to analyze your investments, you're like, why didn't they just say that? Why did they have to make it seem like it was so hard? They just do. They just do. But I help you understand it so that you're not overwhelmed, so that you're not spending endless hours trying to figure it out. Because you got a job, you got a family, you got a husband, you got kids, you got a house that needs to be maintained, you got things to do. Investing should not be another task on your plate that adds more hours to your day. It does not have to be complex. There are ways to make it complex, but it does not have to be. Your entryway into the market, because I want you in the market so that you're building wealth. Your entryway into the market does not have to be complex. So with a framework, a strategy that works for you, and your investing plan, it relieves all of the things that made you overwhelmed. And when you start understanding things for yourself, the clarity that you have, you'll start seeing things clearly and you won't feel overwhelmed anymore. And with that clarity, you have more control over your money. With that clarity, you have more confidence in your decisions. And with that clarity, you won't fear losing money. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? My chat is quiet today. Why are y'all so quiet? I see you're here with me. I can see how many are watching. No one is commenting. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about what I just shared? Overwhelmed because you are bombarded with so much noise that makes the market appear to be more complex than it is. What are your thoughts? If you're enjoying this video so far, if I've shared anything that's helpful to you, make sure you hit that like button before you leave. Smash that like button before you leave. And if you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But fear is what's keeping you in survival mode and working longer than you need to. Even if you're earning a good salary, even if you're able to cover all of your bills, even if you're able to save a little bit, that's just financial stability. All it takes is that job to go away, and you will slide right back into survival mode. So while you're working that job and you're earning a good salary, I beg you, do not let fear keep you on that seesaw between stability and survival mode. Invest so that you can get out of survival mode, so that you can move beyond stability and maybe one day experience financial independence. And then beyond that, maybe one day, financial freedom. But you won't have either one if you're not investing. While you're earning a good salary, while you're working the job, whether you love the job or not, if you love it, great. But you're allowing your employer to control your stability. The minute that job goes away, you'll be back in survival mode again. But if you invest, your money will start compounding and making more money for you. Versus right now, the only way you make money is by working. You have to exchange your time and your effort to make money. But when you invest, your money works on its own without your time and effort. Right? So in order to get out of survival mode and stay out, you have to put your money in the market. But I don't want you to put the money in the market if you're afraid. I want you to address these 3 common things that we talked about in this video so that you're not afraid. Because that fear is real. That fear is valid. I'm not gaslighting you to make you think it isn't. But I want you to do what I just explained in those 3 things so that you have less fear. Okay? And if you decide to join my coaching program, these, so that I can teach you how to do those things, what you will walk away with is, number 1, you will know how to evaluate the end so that you no longer fear choosing wrong. You will know how to evaluate market conditions so that you know what to do during a crash. You won't fear a market crash anymore. Number 3, you will have a framework that you can follow. Mind you, a simple framework that you can follow so that you're not overwhelmed by noise and relying on other people to tell you what to do. And with those 3 things, you'll be able to invest without fear. And once you start investing, you will have a portfolio that's working for you. And at some point, your portfolio will start earning more money than you do at your job. And when that compounding at that level starts kicking in, that's what I call the money babies. That's what I call the money babies. And those money babies is what will lead to the financial independence and then the financial freedom that makes working optional. Everything that I explained to you is what my clients have done. You have seen some of the testimonials on my channel. Miss Donna, how she took her raggedy portfolio and now she follows a dividend strategy, and her dividend income pays her household expenses. You have seen Kimberly that went through a terrible divorce. She thought she was on track to retire early, but the divorce set her back. She ended up having a lot of debt as a result of the divorce. We tackled that debt, honey. Then she followed a simple strategy, got back on track, and still retired early. Another client that comes to mind that's on my channel, you may have seen her story. All of these are under the playlist titled Client Wins. My client Tamika, she was one of the first millionaires to come out of my program. I now have helped 3 Black women become millionaires. Tamika was number 2. It's because they cut out the noise, they learned how to evaluate, they learned how to navigate market volatility. This is what all my clients are able to do. I've done it. They've done it. There's no reason why it isn't possible for you too. So, if you want to join me in Invest with Ease, I am hosting a cohort that starts in January. We're going to kick off the new in the right path, going down the right path. But there's only 1 seat left. At least before this live stream, last I checked, there's only 1 seat left in the cohort. And enrollment is going to close tomorrow. So if you want to apply to join us, the link is in the description of this video. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Hold on. Okay, yes. The link is on the screen and in the description of this video. Apply to join the cohort that begins in January, and I can teach you how to do all of the things that we talked about today. Enrollment will close tomorrow. There's 1 seat left. So if there are questions, let me know, and I will hang back for a little bit to answer a few questions. And if not, this is a perfect place to wrap up. Faithful Jones, let me see. He said, 2 lessons taken away from this video. Number 1, investment in the S&P 500 doesn't mean that you're diversified, especially if you don't know what you're invested in just because you're invested in the S&P 500. That's the point I was trying to make. It's not that you want to diversify, because you are investing in 500 different companies. There's no more diversification you can get. My point in that part of the conversation was that she didn't understand what she was invested in. She said the S&P 500 was made up of 7 companies. It's not. Right? And number 2, you said a company can have more than 1 type of stock. Yes, there's common stock and preferred stock, and both can be in the S&P 500. In fact, the last time I checked, there are about 504 stocks in the S&P 500, but there are only 500 companies. So yes, some companies have 2 different types of stocks, and they're both in the S&P. Yeah, good catches. Good catches. Faithful Jones ain't playing. She was paying attention to what I was saying. Yes. That is the type of paying attention and learning I want you to do. Not following anybody on social media blindly, but listen to what they're saying. Make sure you understand the context of what they're saying. And don't put your money in anything they've said until you analyze it for yourself. I'll put Invest with Ease link on the screen one more time. The link is in the description of this video, but if you would like to join us so you can learn how to do these things on your own, there is 1 seat left, and enrollment closes tomorrow. So, all right, friends, that's all I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. If it was, smash that like button, share it with a friend. And I'll call y'all back tomorrow. You know we're doing the couch conversations. Bye for now.